If you live in Lake County, or even if you've just driven through Mundelein at any point in the last few years, I've got a pretty good bet you've seen this thing and wondered exactly the same thing I did. Picture this. You're driving down Route 60, Townline Road. You pass the Jewel Osco, you pass the Burger King, the Panera, the Strip Mall, and maybe you glance over towards the Salvation Army. And then right there, kind of lurking behind everything, peeking out over the roofline like it's trying to hide, there's this absolutely massive gray building, like comically large, just gray, enormous, nondescript, zero personality, just like me. It looks like the kind of building that if you were writing a thriller novel, that's where the bad guys would operate because no one would suspect anything. Or maybe it's storing the world's largest collection of bubble wrap, who knows? For years, and I mean years, I would drive past this thing and it just sort of sat there. Cranes, construction equipment, activity, but no signs, no logos, no indication whatsoever of what this building was or who was putting it up. My first instinct, honestly, was Amazon, because at this point, if you see a massive gray warehouse going up in suburban Chicago, your brain just auto-completes it to Amazon. It's like the Pavlovian response at this point. Big gray box must be Jeff Bezos. But no Amazon, no blue smile logo, just silence, and semi-trucks rolling in and out once it finally came to life. So I did what any curious local does. I went there in the middle of the night and broke in. No, I didn't. I just looked it up, and here's what I found. The building is called Bridgepoint Mundelein, and it sits at 290 Townline Road, right there where Townline meets Route 60 and 83, which is why if you've driven that intersection from basically any direction, you've probably caught a glimpse of it. It's partially screened by the strip mall commercial buildings along that corridor, but once you know it's there, you can't unsee it. The site was acquired in September of 2021 by a company called Bridge Industrial, a privately owned, vertically integrated real estate operating company and investment manager. Now, here's a fun twist to the story. Bridge Industrial doesn't even go by that name anymore. As of March 2026, Bridge Industrial rebranded itself as Curve Industrial, a name meant to capture the firm's evolution after 25 years in the business. So when you see the sign on the building that just says The Bridge or Bridge Point, you're technically looking at a Curve Industrial property now. But since most of us knew it as Bridgepoint Mundelein, I'm just going to call it that. So what exactly is this thing? Bridgepoint Mundelein is a 320,365 square foot Class A industrial facility. For reference, that is over 7 acres of building under one roof. That's bigger than 5 football fields. It's not the biggest warehouse in the world or even the biggest in Illinois, but it is absolutely not small. This isn't some little flex space where a contractor keeps his tools. This is a serious, professional, modern logistics facility. The facility features 36-foot clear ceiling heights, 7 exterior docks, 1 drive-in door, and around 67 trailer parking stalls. And if you've ever wondered why you see so many semi-trucks parked over there, now you know. Those trailer stalls are a big deal in commercial real estate. Parking like that is described as an extremely rare amenity in the land-constrained Lake County submarket. Turns out Lake County, for all its sprawl and development, doesn't have a ton of room for industrial facilities of this scale, which is exactly why this location was such a big prize. Now let's talk about Mundelein, because that's the part that's actually interesting from a business perspective. Bridgepoint Mundelein is described as a prime infill location within the Lake County submarket, giving tenants direct access to the 4-way intersection of I-94 and Route 60. That interchange, which is just a few miles east on Route 60, connects you directly to the Tri-State Tollway. From there, you can get to O'Hare in half an hour. You can get to downtown Chicago in an hour. You can reach Milwaukee in about an hour as well. If you're a distribution or logistics company trying to serve the greater Chicagoland and upper Midwest market, this location is genuinely excellent. The marketing materials highlight low Lake County taxes and access to an abundant labor pool, which is a polite corporate way of saying there are a lot of people in this area who need jobs and will work at a warehouse. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. I would totally do it. Warehouse jobs pay real wages, and Lake County has the workforce. The building was completed in Q3 of 2022, sits on 24 acres of land, and is in the Lake County submarket. So from the time the land was purchased in late 2021 to when the building was finished about a year later, that's actually really fast for a project of this size. So who's actually using it? Well, this is where the information gets a little murky, and I'll be honest with you, commercial real estate lease information isn't exactly plastered on billboards. But here's what I know. According to commercial lease data, a tenant signed a lease at 290 Townline Road in 2023, with the lease running through 2029. One source lists Kenco Logistics as a tenant, and if you've ever heard of Kenco, here's the quick version. Kenco Group is a privately held, Chattanooga, Tennessee-based company that specializes in distribution and fulfillment, transportation management, material handling services, and warehouse real estate management. It is known as the largest women-owned third-party logistics company in the United States. So those semis you're seeing rolling in and out, they're almost certainly Kenco or Kenco's clients, because that's what third-party logistics companies do. They handle the warehousing and shipping for other companies. You hire Kenco, Kenco stores your stuff in Mundelein, and then Kenco ships it out whenever it needs to go. It's the behind-the-scenes machinery of modern commerce. Kenco manages more than 43 million square feet of warehouse space across 141 distribution facilities in 33 U.S. states, serving over 390 customers throughout North America. They are not a small operation. Having their operation in Mundelein means that when your package shows up at your door from some e-commerce retailer you order from, there's a real chance it passed through that gray building behind the Salvation Army. Kind of wild, right? You've probably driven past the place 100 times without realizing it was part of a supply chain that delivered something to your own house. Now let's talk about the company that built and owns the place, because the Bridge Industrial Curve Industrial story is actually pretty interesting too, and their Mundelein facility fits into a much bigger picture. Bridge Industrial was co-founded in 2000 and is based in Chicago. The rebrand to Curve Industrial in 2026 was meant to reflect the firm's evolution and growth as a platform, with operations that now span Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, New Jersey, Seattle, and London. These are not guys just building one warehouse in Mundelein and calling it a day. They are a major national and now international industrial real estate firm. The company's philosophy involves targeting supply-constrained core infill industrial markets and transforming obsolete manufacturing plants, neglected warehouses, and degraded plots of land into state-of-the-art facilities, drawing in logistics and e-commerce tenants, and, as they put it, revitalizing local economies through job creation. Now, whether you believe that corporate framing or not, the outcome in Mundelein does appear to be a functioning, occupied, active facility, bringing some economic activity to the area. And they don't just build one in a market and then just walk away. They have multiple properties in the Chicagoland area alone, and Bridgepoint Mundelein is one of several Lake County and Chicagoland developments in their portfolio. Here's what I think is the interesting meta point about all of this, and why it's worth talking about even if you're not in the commercial real estate business. The building has been going up since 2021. Most of us drove by it with zero idea what it was, who was building it, who was going to use it, or why anyone would choose Mundelein of all places for a 320,000 square foot warehouse. And yet, from a pure logistics standpoint, the answer is obvious once you look at a map. Lake County often gets used to thinking of itself as a residential suburb. Nice neighborhoods, good schools, forest preserves, chain restaurants, that kind of identity. But there's an entire industrial and logistics economy quietly humming along, and Bridgepoint Mundelein is a pretty good symbol of that. This is a $20+ million investment in the municipality. It employs people. It generates property taxes. It moves goods. And for years, most of us just drove past it wondering if it was an Amazon fulfillment center. It's not. It's better than that, or at least it's a little more interesting than that. It's a major logistics operator running a facility that's probably servicing dozens of companies you've actually heard of, sitting right there off Townline Road behind a strip mall. That's Mundelein for you. If you're curious and you drive that stretch of Route 60 or Diamond Lake Road or Lake Street regularly, next time you see a semi pulling in or out of that facility, now you know. That's Bridgepoint Mundelein doing the quiet, unglamorous, absolutely essential work of getting stuff from manufacturers to your front door. I'll see you next time.